Donald Trump arguably had a very difficult news conference last Friday, a week ago. How's this week been so far?
Well, I think it's been, we saw yesterday his meeting with CEOs. He's trying to get back on message, talking about delivering jobs, bringing jobs back that had gone overseas. So, I think that the CEO meeting seemed to me very much a kind of public PR push for him to say that we're going to focus on the message that we promised to deliver during the campaign. And one of the interesting things that came out of that CEO meeting, I think, was that some of them were saying, we do have jobs. The problem is we don't have the kind of skilled labor that we really need to fill those posts. So, there's a bit of mixed messages there.
Right, and he keeps on saying, look, even if there is a border tax, at least it will create jobs. Do we know if a lot of these CEOs are advising him against any kind of tariffs or border tax?
Well, the CEOs that attended that meeting obviously are the sort of big manufacturers. You don't have the kind of big retailers that would be hit particularly hard by a border adjustment tax, the Walmart, the big kind of retailers. So it was not a fully representative kind of room of business leaders in the U.S. So I think that reflects that.
How did it go in Mexico?
Well, this shows that U.S. policy towards Mexico is just full of contradictions and mixed messages. He was just as Trump was telling the CEOs that, the U.S. policy was all about getting bad dudes and using military force. Tillerson and Kelly were giving the exact opposite message. So, Mexican officials are probably trying to figure out who do they listen to most.
Who should they listen to, Rick? And I've had two quite big investors this week telling me that their preferred asset overall is actually Mexican peso at this point.
Well, yeah, it's had a valuation adjustment in anticipation, in a sense, of some of these changes. And I guess it illustrates the point. As a global investor, these social and policy issues are really, really important. But they're the results are unexpected. But one of the things that maybe would be predictable, if you have a border tax, it's going to increase the value of the dollar, all other things being equal. So U.S. businesses are going to have to face a really complex landscape of a rising dollar together with a border tax, and probably a challenge from the WTO if that border tax is implemented. So I'd be sympathetic with the idea of Latin American currencies and the peso in particular being cheap.
Next week, on Tuesday, Donald Trump addresses to House and Senate lawmakers. What are the three things that you want to hear from him to add to your exposure to U.S. stocks?
Well, I think we shouldn't hope for too much at this very, very early stage. And I guess that's also Janet Yellen's message about what can happen. Tax cuts are easier to happen than almost anything else. So to the extent there'll be a fiscal stimulus and what will change in 2017, it'll be anticipation of tax cuts. The other stuff, the infrastructure, the deregulation, that's going to take much longer.
Stephanie, do we know any more about this immigration ban 2.0? Is he coming out with it soon, or is he postponing that?
It was supposed to come out this week, but it looks like it's been delayed till next week. It looks like they're trying to make sure that they dot all the I's, cross all the T's, make sure that there aren't any legal challenges to it. However, we're getting a bit of mixed messages. Steve Miller had said in an interview this week that actually the broad outlines of the policy would remain the same. So it's unclear what's going to be dialed back, how narrow it really will be.